Evening, everybody. I see here. So much to talk about tonight. Okay, well, let's start out with our illustrious president and how stupidly brain dead he truly is. The reason why I'm saying that is, as a veteran and someone who has been in the Navy, I was Army and Navy, but the one thing you do not do is you do not let your enemies know where your assets are. To be specific, an Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine that President Dumbass turned around and told the world, we have one in the Persian Gulf. That is nobody's business except for the people in the Pentagon and the people on the ship, specifically the captain. Locations of what they call strategic assets are supposed to be kept secret. You don't advertise to your opponents, your enemies, where they are, because that narrows it down for where they want to attack, should they wish to attack. So, President Dumbass, he told the whole world we have a Ohio-class ballistic submarine sitting in the Persian Gulf. That takes stupid to a whole new level. All right, well, that's number one. Let's see, number two, we are talking about Hamas. I just watched an interview with the son of one of the co-founders of Hamas, and he's now an American citizen, and he doesn't feel the way that the people in Hamas do. But he pointed out something which is very important that people need to recognize, and that is that Hamas, their mindset is still 7th century. Okay, do you understand what that means? They still think it in terms of like 600 AD. They believe in using knives and brutal means to accomplish a goal. Otherwise, why would they have committed the atrocities that they did in Israel a couple weeks back? Think about this. If they were actually warriors, real warriors, and they had a legitimate beef, they would go after other warriors. The whole world condemns targeting women and children. And these people beheaded children, put live children inside ovens and cooked them, set them on fire. One story is that they sliced off, I think it was a foot or a hand on one kid. They sliced off another body part on another kid. The father, they gouged his eyes out, which means, if you don't understand the word gouge, it's like take your eye and pop it like a zit. And that's what they did to both his eyes. And they went and cut the mother's breast off. And then they tossed him in a room and set him on fire. This is the mentality of the people in Israel are currently fighting. Another incident involved a family, and they injured the kid, injured the parents. Then when they killed them all, they sat down and they ate the family's meal that was sitting on the table. This is absolute disgusting. They're butchers. And so the son of one of the co-founders of Hamas, he made a very simple statement. In order for you to get the message out to Hezbollah, the Shia, the Sunnis, all the other people that support terror, is you have to take Hamas and you have to eradicate it from the face of the earth. That means every single member of Hamas has to be killed. Period. This is the mentalities people have. So that would be the only way you're actually going to send a valid message to these people, that they need to rethink their attitude and rethink what they're doing, because the leaders of Hamas, they've already videotaped them. They're sitting there, multimillionaires. They're sitting riding in private jets. They're living the life of Riley. But the people that work beneath them are the ones that are going around butchering people, killing children, cutting heads off, raping women. And they're doing it all because it's a quasi-religious reason for, I have to go to heaven. Before I can go to heaven, I got to kill all these people. So you have to target Hamas, and you have to get every single one of them eradicated from the planet. That's the only way all the other terrorist groups are going to say, we need to rethink what we're doing. So I fully support Israel in not listening to that idiot President Biden. He wants to give them a ceasefire so that they, no. You strike while the iron is hot. You strike, when you can, and you don't stop. You don't let up at all. And I feel bad for the Palestinian citizens, the men and the women and the children that are in the area, because a lot of them do not support Hamas. But you also have to take into account they held elections and elected Hamas to lead their country, their group. If you elect somebody to lead you, that means you support what they want to do. So technically, what happens to them is their own fault, and it's, they made their own bed, now they got to sleep in it. And everybody's screaming, tolerance, what about your Palestinians? It's like, people in this country today don't know the difference between Hamas and Palestinians. They don't. And that's because the radical professors and the radical students that have great oratory skills and know how to speak have pretty much convinced and brainwashed a lot of their fellow students that what they're saying is correct and what other people are saying is incorrect. And so now they're turning around calling the Jews Nazis, which I find ironic, because the Nazis were the ones that created the genocide on the Jewish people. This is, the fault of our educators. So what I would suggest happening in this country is that every college, every school be held accountable for their actions. Excuse me. You got a school that says they're going to have a walkout in support of the Palestinians and Hamas. I say, you walk out of school, you fail for the grade for the year. You walk out of the college, you don't get your degree. It's time to stand up to these kids. They're spoiled, rotten brats. All of them. They feel that they are entitled to whatever they want. So it's time to take away what they want. The only way when you got a kid sucking on a lollipop and you don't want them to, you take the lollipop away. Well, these kids, they want all this and they demand this, and they don't want to have to earn it. Not in the sense of academic sense, but in a moral sense. You can't scream at Jewish people that have done nothing wrong to you at all, that are just fellow students, and call them Nazis and say that they're creating genocide upon the Palestinians, when it was the Palestinian group Hamas that started all this crap. Now, yeah, there are innocent Palestinians, but until these people in this country, the United States, know how to differentiate between Hamas and Palestinians, you're not going to be able to fix the problem. I just watched interviews tonight where these people couldn't even tell you what Hamas is. They just said it's Palestine. Palestine, you're I'm going to put it really bluntly. You people are screwed up in the head. You don't know what in the heck you're talking about. You're a bunch of idiots. And if you're in school, if I was one of the professors in school, I'd fail you in your grades. You don't deserve to be educated. And I applaud all these big businesses that are pulling their funding away from these schools and also telling these schools that you're not going to hire these people. Nobody wants to hire somebody that's a spoiled, rotten little brat. It's not worth it. But that's my opinion. IC out.